SnareBurger. One SnareBurger coming up! SnareBurger! Hey, you guys!
Hey, keep it down over there. We're trying to record over
Yeah,
here.
we're going to have all this editing to do with these.
We're gonna have to edit all this out. Thanks a lot.
Jesus.
Danielle. Jesus.
Oh. So we're at Park Street tonight in Attleboro, Massachusetts. Park Street. Ale House and Eatery.
Where's
And,
JK?
Well, I have not heard from JK. I'm assuming he's not coming tonight. I do not know. But Drama's here, and Butchie's here, and I'm here. Pete, I'm here. And Danielle's here. And
that's what's most important.
yeah, and she'll be taking care of our drinking and eating needs tonight. But we're happy to be here. We spent the last two podcasts at East Street, which we also love, but it was time for a change. So here we are back at Park Street. We have frequented this bar many times. We just haven't done podcasts here.
No,
We did our test run here.
we did
didn't-
have our pre-screen of
Yes.
topics that
Yeah.
we wanted to figure out.
Yeah, we did. What kind of since this is kind of a drummers/beer podcast, what kind of beer are you drinking, Butchie?
This is where I got this she bean pilsner.
Where's that from?
A she-male pilsner?
We know where that
She-male,
she-male
it's
pilsner.
really good.
That's in the back here, right?
As a wise man once said to me.
Oh,
Connecticut.
okay. Connecticut. Oh, yeah. I am drinking the, starting with the Jack's Abbey, Framinghammer.
Yeah.
I'm assuming from Framingham, Massachusetts.
Is that what you had last week? Did you have
No.
That something the hammer or something?
Yeah, I
hammer
can't
or
remember.
something?
Yeah.
No
This is a
s'more.
porter.
You didn't like the s'more.
Oh, no, the Samoa. The s'mores you liked, and you liked the Samoa. I did not like the Samoa at all.
Yeah, as you clearly
As I
stated.
clearly stated. But, you know, you got to
were
give
pretty-
your goods and your bads.
Yeah.
This podcast isn't all about good stuff.
What goes with the musicians? Beer. What goes with drummers, more importantly? Beer and food.
Yes,
We're always
beer.
the hungry ones in the band.
That's like
That's
there's a interview with Animal from the Muppets on
There
YouTube.
is?
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of interviews. It's
Really?
they're funny as hell. And one of
Maybe I
them-
got to watch that.
Oh yeah, you gotta watch. Some you just listen to, but one of them is being interviewed, and he's like that, and they go,
great.
so Animal, what do you like more? Do you like water? Do you like
Yeah,
beer? Do you like drums or food? What do you like better? And he goes, drums is food. And he starts eating his drum kit. Drums is food.
He is the classic drummer, so.
Yeah. Oh, he's one of my idols.
Yeah, he's been around for a long
Well, we
time.
get to talk
Big
about
influence.
idols.
We'll talk about influences later.
Yeah. Well, he's right up there.
Animals right on the top of the list.
Oh, for sure. That's been my nickname in bands because when I'm just
Every
kind of like
childhood.
whacking away, when, you know.
Whacking away, people. Whacking away.
Well, when you play in bands, this always comes up is, you know, you could write out these really fantastic drum parts, technical,
Right.
and two people in the crowd that are drummers would probably be like, wow.
Right.
The rest of the people are kind of yawning.
Right.
But if you like flail your arms up in the air like Animal and
They
like
love
really
it.
hit 2 and 4 hard
It's
and
visual
maybe
now.
throw a stick flip in,
Right.
you get off stage and people are like, man,
Yeah.
you were
Yep.
amazing. And you're like,
Yep. They're
all it
stimulated
took,
by
huh?
the visual. Yeah, totally. I have a question about the menu. So, am I able to see? I don't eat beef, so I would love to get the chicken burger, but can you do it Southwest?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
Sweet. I'll do that.
With this
Yeah.
That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
we got those coming, right? We got the Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts coming. Yep. Brussels sprout beer, everybody, down here at Park Street. No, I'm kidding. See?
I'll split some wings. You want to do an order? We'll split them.
Yeah.
Do a couple orders.
Oh, now we got to change seats.
No, it's all right. We'll just pass them.
yeah,
Oh, great. Great. Yeah, that'll be great.
What flavors you thinking?
stimulate Pete's olfactory nerves.
What flavors you like?
Do you like, honey sriracha? Did we do those before?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, those are good.
All right, I'll do wings too.
All right.
We'll all do wings.
Well, we don't want
You're
to.
not doing a burger?
No, I'll do that some other time.
Do that.
Let's all do wings. Let's all keep it.
What?
Let's all keep it uniform
Okay,
here for
so
the
let's
for
do-
the podcast anyway.
All right.
But back to beer and wings, everybody.
Yeah, we're done.
Wings and beer, everybody. I couldn't veer off the path.
It's part of our shtick.
That's
man.
right. That's right.
Wings and beer.
You want a meal? Eat at home. So even I think at the end of last week we were talking about
Thank you so much.
what some topics were going to be, and one of the big topics, like you said, was influences.
So I was careful not to word that as favorite drummers
Right.
or best drummers or something. It's just,
Yeah.
I was going to kind of
We're not
personalize
talking
it.
about all the same drummers everyone else talks about.
Well, no, I think it might be the other way around. It might be I'm gonna like drummers you've never heard of.
Yeah.
Because they're influential to me. Like someone
Yeah.
I've heard of, and go, wow, this guy's awesome. So
Right.
most of the people I really like, and I go in spurts. So, someone I really like. Hey, thanks for taking all the bacon. Why don't you save some bacon for some other people?
God damn it, drama! Look at all that bacon.
Now. I'm on a keto diet, man.
So I worded it as influential drummers. So who have influenced you?
Right.
So, and then I kind of widened that up. I said maybe it doesn't have to be a drummer. It could be
Yeah.
the singer, and you started playing drums because you like this band, and you like the band because of the singer or whatever.
Yeah.
So it could be all over the map.
I totally agree. Because
Well, that's a good topic. We'll talk about that tonight for sure.
as soon as we said that,
Sorry.
drumming wise, nothing ever too complex, but it had its moments. But Roger Waters is one of my favorite artists of all time.
Yeah.
Right,
Everyone knows him. He's
Right. Sure.
infamously married to Pink Floyd, then divorced, and still had an amazing career, which I've seen him every time he comes around.
Yep.
But there's something about certain songs that they wrote together that Nick Mason could just be riding a slow 4, but the song itself is like, man,
No.
makes me want to go write
Yeah.
music like that because it's so,
Yep.
for them, for me anyways, it was always how they, their albums always told a story.
Yep.
In conjunction, you have like 12, 15 tracks on an album, but almost every one of theirs it had like movements throughout the album, right?
Sure.
And then they always did a great job of taking what they made musically and adding what they were interpreting that music to be visually, and not many bands can do that.
Yeah.
There's the generic house lights of a show, which is great, but they always did something that was inspired you to be artistic beyond drums, right?
Yeah.
Or when you're collaborating with people. So it's for me, that's always like the one I hold near and dear to my heart, because I think I was 9 or 10 when my cousin played me my first Pink Floyd album, and I was like, well, that's the best band ever. What else is out there, you know? And to this day, it's still the same.
That was before you were a drummer?
I think so about 9 or 10, I picked up a guitar, as my father plays,
Yep.
which Butchie knows.
Yep.
They used to work together. And I think I did guitar for 3 or 4 months, and then Rick Petrilli came to my father's house, played, and I was like, yeah, no, I want to do that.
Do that. So, and we'll have Rick hopefully on here.
That'd be cool.
Oh man, what a sweetheart of a guy that he
Super
is.
nice guy. A really good player. too.
Talk about chops for days.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he was at my house growing up all the time, playing music with my father, and I would just sit there, and he'd be like, "Oh, you want to jump in?" And you're a young kid.
So
You're
you
like,
could consider him an influence, then you would consider Rick Petrelli
100%,
an
yeah.
influence?
I was around him so much.
Yep.
He used to bring the best pizza from this Framingham Italian deli to our house every time he came.
Yeah.
To this day, it was square pizza.
Yeah.
Every time he came over for us, they'd bring it, and we would just eat it for
I'll have
days.
to ask him where he got it from. I just had lunch with him last week. I had lunch with him last
Oh, you mentioned
Wednesday.
that, yeah. So yeah, no, I would consider him very influential. I was always watching him play, and he's such a talented drummer, and he's the type of drummer that proves if you practice your rudiments and apply them to your drum kit, you do not need a 1,000-piece drum set to make that thing sing.
Yeah.
Right. Right. That's sure.
And he kind of, in a sense, thinking of this now, he's a traditional grip drum player. in a way, he kind of reminds me of Stuart Copeland because now if I think about it, he's like one of 3 drummers off the top of my head that I can think of that played traditional grip, but just really kicked the shit out of a drum set, but still made it, but had so many dynamics. But when it was time for him to punch, like you always think when you're playing traditional grip, there's not that backbeat with the left hand. Yeah, he would just crush those drums. Yeah, and and when I think of people like him, Stuart Copeland. Yep. There's actually another local drummer from this area. I don't know if you guys know him, Jason Costa. He played in like hardcore metal bands. He played in a band called Diecast. Okay. When I was
remember Diecast.
Yeah, when I was like 15, I was playing shows with them, and another guy, he would play clubs for drumsticks, traditional grip, and just beasting around the kit.
Carl Palmer is like that. It's like Carl Palmer plays like tree trunks, sticks, and he's blazing fast, and you wonder how can he swing those all night long and at that speed. Right. I mean, he's got like forearms like Popeye.
And I play a 5B match grip. 2 hours into a set, I'm like, oh my god!
Hey, take a break. I gotta
switch. You're start going back to the gym.
Right. Yeah.
So. But
do you remember what the first influence was for you to start playing drums?
I think we talked about this.
But was it a drummer or was it something?
So I think what I can remember the earliest was that my sister played snare drum and band at North Attleboro High School. Yep. So she had a practice pad and some books and stuff. Okay. So I remember picking that up and just playing on a pad, but I didn't know what I was doing.
And you weren't doing anything before that?
I wasn't doing anything. No. And then I remember when MTV first came out and they had like concerts on, like Saturday night, like 11 o'clock. They had different concerts on, and one of the first concerts I saw was. It was Kansas.
Live we did talk about this.
Philly Earhart. I feel like they had.
He was tremendous, awesome drummer, double bass player, crazy drum fills, awesome playing. And I was like, whoa! And they had a camera like right on him, so I kept switching to the camera right on him.
Tasty drum fills, though. That's always the big part. Is like. I'm guilty of it, just like the rest of us. Mm-hmm. Play 2 bars of 4, and it's time for a drum fill.
So that was probably my first watch it. I go, wow, that's awesome, and then started getting into it a little more.
Okay.
I'd say that's probably the earliest person I can remember. But then I got into Rush and all that stuff, and Neil Peart and Peart.
Which I only learned maybe this year because I never paid attention, I guess.
Right.
I don't know.
You were conditioned.
And he was probably one of my favorites for a while. Stuart Copeland was one of my favorites.
I love him. Talk about a guy that did rock and roll with this, and I think this is the right term. So he grew up in some parts of the Middle East or somewhere. He adds this groove to his 4/4 playing.
Yeah. He's got very reggae stuff.
Yeah. Reggae, or someone mentioned the term once of how he uses the toms very simplistically in a drum beat, but it adds this whole dynamic to that, the 4 on the floor drum beat. Yeah. And his dynamics and accents really make the difference.
Yeah. Very unique player. Very unique sound.
Actually, he's coming to Boston next month. He's playing at Symphony Hall.
Oh, really?
I just saw it actually tonight. And I just want to let this podcast know, because my mom will probably hear this. She just texted me. She's listening to our first podcast.
Oh, really?
That we released a couple weeks ago. Right now.
Shit. All right.
Oh, nice.
Well, to Drama's mom, I'm sorry for all the swearing.
She swears more
ahead
than
of
the
time.
3 of us.
Okay. Well, when my mom listens to it, I apologize to my mom for all the swearing.
Oh boy.
She watched the Paco and Kincaid videos, and there were a lot of F-bombs out of my mouth.
She was appalled.
Yeah, she was appalled.
Yeah. So what about your early? Your early
For me, it was because I was a product of MTV videos as well, like you were saying, watching those videos. But and we have wings.
How easily we got diverted.
I'll get back to it.
Thank you, thank you.
So,
For me, it was as far as drummer influences go. In the beginning, for me, I was in a band, junior high and high school. You know Tom obviously, and my neighbor Carl and everything. And before Tom was in the band, nobody really could sing. So I would attempt to sing and play. So Phil Collins was a big thing for me. Because I would see him on MTV with Genesis and be like, oh, you can sing and play? So that's kind of what I attempted.
That's a thing?
In the beginning, I decided, okay, well, I'm going to do that till we find a singer. So Phil Collins was definitely an early influence for me.
Wasn't the drummer from Grand Funk Railroad? He sang too,
Did
right?
he sing? Yeah.
I don't know. Did he?
Wait, am I thinking this right? Who sang an American Band? Was it Grand Funk Railroad, right?
It was Grand Funk, yeah.
Yeah, the video.
It was the
he's
drummer?
singing, yeah.
Oh, no shit. And Night Ranger, right?
Yeah.
Sang that one song?
And Don Henley.
Or maybe more than one song, Don Henley.
Don Henley, yeah.
But yeah, for me, Phil Collins, but to start playing drums, because I was a trumpet player in grade school, 5th, 6th grade, 7th grade.
What made the switch?
My cousins, my older cousins, Jimmy and Linda.
Yeah.
Jimmy's a guitar player
She's a drummer.
in Malaya Rage, and Linda's now in Muck and the Myers. But when we would go visit my uncle, and they would have a rehearsal room.
Muck and the Myers, awesome band. By the way.
They are an awesome band, yeah, Muck and the Myers. But they would have a rehearsal room at their parents' house, and we would go visit, and I just thought it was the most awesome thing in the world, And then when I happened to see this broken down bass drum and snare drum in my neighbor's basement one day, I was like, it triggered something in me. After being at my cousin's house and seeing her play, and then seeing those drums, I was like, oh man, I gotta grab these. How much you want? Because they were trash, and they were sitting in a corner. And I asked him how much he wanted. He wanted $20 for them, so I ran home, grabbed $20 from my parents, begged them to give me $20 to go buy these drums. And of course, they're bringing drums into their house. They don't know what the hell they're doing, because for years from then till I was 30 or something, every band I rehearsed with rehearsed in their basement. Nice. So they had to deal with that. It was their $20 investment that made that happen.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it was my cousins, and then Phil Collins for me. I was growing up in the hair metal era, so Motley Crue was a big band for me. Iron Maiden, all those bands, So that was the beginnings for me, I think.
Actually, can I just interject with a quick funny story about drums?
Yeah.
So my first drum set was a Slingerland that
Nice.
I got. Me and my dad found it on not Craigslist, but something. Yeah. Oh, the Want ad.
Yeah, the Want ad.
Who remembers the Want ad?
Oh yeah.
$100. Someone had painted it black. I had it for years. I sold it to a friend of mine. Then she sold it to her brother. Then he traded it into, believe it or not, where we are right now at Park Street used to be a place called the Music Depot.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Years later, I walk into the Music Depot and I see my first original drum set sitting on the floor of the Music Depot in Attleboro.
Really?
And I said, "That's my drum set." And the guy goes, "Oh, that was yours?" I go, "Yeah." I go, "I sold it to a friend of mine for $100." He goes, "Man, did you paint it?" And I said, "No, it just came black." He goes, "Look closely." I had the drum set for years. I just, I was playing it. I look closely. I see these little speckles of purple. Turns out the original color was purple. The guy said, had no one ever tried to paint this, this would have been worth like $1,500.
Oh my God.
Because it was a collector's series of a Slingerland, and my jaw dropped because I remember I bought it for $100 and I sold it for $100.
Yep.
But literally right where we're sitting in this restaurant used to be a music store.
Wow, that's crazy.
And I saw it in here. Well, I figured I would have saw it in the pawn shop across the street. Is that Steven still here?
Danielle, did you know this place used to be a music store? Yep. That's where Drama bought his first drum set.
No.
Oh, no.
It ended up here.
Ended up here, sorry.
Yeah, we think it was here. Was it here?
Yeah, it was. Between this place and the restaurant next door.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But it just meant once you said about buying the $20 bass drum,
yeah.
I was like, oh
Yeah,
my
totally.
God, I still remember that.
I mean, this thing, man. I think I gave it to you eventually, and you like stripped it and painted it white.
Oh, I think.
Remember?
Oh, was it?
I think it was that bass drum.
Oh.
A little 20-inch bass drum. And the snare drum had no snare on it. The bottom head was broken. I didn't have any idea that it was even supposed to. And it didn't have a stand.
Years
So
later, you became the snare whisperer.
Oh, that's what I hear. Ooh, these wings are good tonight.
Very good.
This podcast brought to you by Park Street. Good wings, good beer, good times.
Park Street wings.
So yeah, my first drum set was a Slingerland,
Yeah.
followed by. So I had that kit for several years. My father knew that I was really into drums. He played guitar. One day he said, "Listen, we're going to Ocean State Percussion," which people listening out there, if you
Yeah.
don't know, if you're not from this area,
I love that place.
Ocean State Percussion,
Love that place.
back in the day, was the drum store you went to buy everything.
Yep. Rhode
Right
Island,
off
Ocean
95
State.
Rhode Island.
Rush.
What?
Russ. What's his name?
Russ,
Yeah.
Russ, yeah.
So that was the place you went, like that was, when you walked into that place, he had everything. Everything your eyes just lit up. So my father took me there. He said, take a walk around. I was young. I had no clue why we were there. I thought maybe I was getting a new pair of sticks or maybe buying me a cymbal. He goes, oh, try some different drum sets. I sat on a Tama Grand Star, a white Tama Grand Star, 6-piece, three toms up, 1 floor tom, bass snare. And he's like, oh, you like that kit? And I had tried a bunch of kits in the store, and
That's a nice kit.
Russ was like,
Might be
yeah,
nice.
Tom and Grand Star was the series. Like they had that for a while. I think before they came out with the Star Classics, something like that. It
They
was
were around
high
the-
end.
They were around the same as Superstars. It was Grand Star, Superstar.
Yeah, and
Really nice drums.
I said, yeah, I love this kit.
Built like a tank.
And my father told Russ, pack it up, and we took it home. So my jaw dropped. Got this drum set home. I think you know why? I think I actually got it because it looked like Lars Ulrich's drum set.
Yep.
It was white with the chrome plating on like the hardware.
Yep.
And there was only one bass drum, but I was like, when I was young, Metallica, the Black Album came out, it was a big deal. And I got home, I was so excited. My father was working his regular job and a contracting job on the side. And I was so excited. I'm like, let's play some music. And my father goes, I got to go. And I go, well, where are you going? He goes, to my second job so I can pay this damn thing off. I didn't realize till years later the drum set cost like $1,500.
Right.
It was very expensive. So, Dad, thank you.
Wow.
He was so heartbroken when
Ask Butchie
when
what
I
his first
traded
drum
that.
set was.
Oh.
Ask Butchie what his first drum set was. Go ahead, ask him.
Butch,
Go ahead,
what
ask
was
him.
your first drum set?
Oh, well, thank you for asking. My first drum kit was a Ludwig Distelite.
Fucking orange. Is that the one that's at White's Music now?
That is the one that's at White's Music, so I get to visit it. So all my kits I've sold, I try to get visitation rights to. Mm-hmm. So I
And
sell them
Tam
to
is there,
friends.
too.
So I sell them. Oh yeah, and my Tama
Rockstar.
kit. Yep. The Rockstar kit's there too.
So one would say that you've been spreading your seed in of illegitimate drum sets all around the area.
Yeah, you can tell that.
This guy starts off with a fucking Vistalite.
I
God
know.
damn it. Oh,
Wow.
excuse my language, Mom. Sorry. Androma's mom. Sorry.
So, wow, Vistalite, huh? I mean, those are. Now, every drum manufacturer has their own acrylic brand
Uh-huh.
of drums. But what made you want to buy that? Just the influences of singing John Bonham, or
No, it was a friend of my father's. was
So
selling
we're
the
talking
kit.
with our mouths full. Sorry. We all are.
A friend of my father's was selling the kit, and it's just, I didn't even know what it was. I mean, they brought it home. It was in the soft cases, the leather soft cases, and
oh yeah,
I didn't even know what it was. He came home with it. I don't even know if I went to go look at him. I think he just came home with them. and that came with some Zildjian cymbals and
Awesome.
Wow.
stuff, and the old stands, and
How old were you? Remember? What grade were you in?
I don't remember. I started taking lessons around 12. I don't remember if I got that kit before I took lessons or after. I want to say I got that kit before I started taking lessons. But
Did you go somewhere or did they come to the house?
I went to White's.
Oh, you did go to White's in Attleboro.
It was downtown Attleboro.
Right. It was a store, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the only one around.
Right.
It was Ray Mullins, I think.
Yeah. Oh, Ray Mullen. And they moved to Pawtucket.
Yeah, it was Ray Mullins. It
Yeah.
was White's.
Ray
and-
Mullins was a
They were in
music store.
Pawtucket. Yeah.
And that was about it. And
Yep.
and we took it from what you said, Scott Hughes. You said,
Yep. Scott Hughes. Yeah.
I took lessons from him for years.
Okay. Yep. That's right.
Coney's not around back then?
Marconi's might have been around too. Yeah, Marconi's was around. And that was a case where I wasn't.
And they're still around.
Nobody in my family plays it. My sister played a little bit, snare drum, but for the most part, nobody in my family plays any instruments. I had no gift for drums at all. So anything with taking lessons, I struggled, like learning how to read.
Anything he
and-
learns, he works for.
Yeah, like nothing comes natural for me, drums. When I first started taking lessons anyway, nothing came natural. And to the point where I think I told you this, Scott.
Yeah.
Oh, Scott. Well, I found out years later, my parents told me after they went to go see me at a couple gigs, saw me at a couple gigs, and they were like, "Wow, you sound great. We're so glad you're playing." They pulled me, my parents pulled me aside, and they go, "Just so you know, this was years after I took lessons. Scott stopped teaching at White's, and I got another teacher in. I took lessons from him for a little while. I don't remember his name, and he was really good. But
Thank you.
before Scott left, he goes, "Oh, I'm good. This will be my last lesson with you." I think he was moving. He was moving to Florida or something, and he said, "You're at the point now. You really gotta buckle down and just work out your own style and stuff." But he goes, "Yeah, you've come a long way since our first lesson and stuff." And it might have been Scott that told me. He says, "Just so you know, I pulled your parents aside after one of your lessons, after maybe a 5th, 6th, 7th lesson, and I said, I'll keep teaching them, and I'll do whatever you want me to do, but your son doesn't have a knack. He's not He's not a gifted player. He's not gifted. He's really struggling. Does he practice?" And they said, "Yeah, he practices all the time." And he goes, "Okay." He's really struggling with stuff. And then, and then years later, he told me, he goes, "Yeah, I told your parents that." He goes, "You've come a long way because you were not a natural at this at all." And then I think my parents told me that later on, and they still tell me to this day. They're so glad that I'm still playing.
Focus and the love you're doing.
Still doing something almost 50 years old and still out there. Still out there playing on weekends and enjoying it. And I tell a lot of people now, I almost enjoy it more now. I think I don't take it for granted now.
Right.
It's like a privilege to be playing.
Right.
So I'm not the disgruntled. I'm not to that point.
Not jaded. No.
I'm not the jaded, disgruntled player.
Do you ever have times through your career where you stopped playing?
I did. I took a break for it was a couple years. I think I didn't pick up.
I
a
did
stick.
too.
I packed everything away.
When was that?
That was after.
After King's Ransom? No. Oh, after Novus?
Maybe after Novus. I was in an original band, and we were playing, regularly, and recorded, and did a bunch of stuff, and writing originals, and that band broke up, and I was kind of heartbroken about that breakup, and just had no desire to play. I packed everything away. I didn't touch it for years. The best thing that ever happened to me. Actually, I got to send him a link to these podcasts, but Carl Schneider, who owns a recording studio in Norton, with a friend of ours from Slicey Jenkins, who's the sound man for Slicey, that just talked to him out of the blue, he's a big fan of the band I was in, got broke up. And he goes, oh, are you guys getting back together? You doing anything? I go, nah, I don't see that happening. He goes, are you playing? I go, no, not really. When was the last time you played? I go, over a year, maybe a year and a half. He goes, oh, you got to be playing. You should be playing. He goes, I just recorded a band in here, and they're looking for a drummer. Are you looking to play again? I go, I don't know. Let's see. He goes, it's a Johnny Cash tribute band. Would you be interested in a Johnny Cash tribute? I go, I'm like, I don't know. All right, I'll go down. So I ended up going down and trying out for these guys, and I got the gig. So I jammed with them for it was a couple of years. I think I was jamming with them, a lot of gigs, and they got me back into playing. Then I ended up, my friend Matt, the bass player, wasn't playing. Terrific bass player. You should be playing. Matt was in a band with Pete for years, and terrific upright bass player, frontless jazz player, terrific player. He wasn't doing anything. The Johnny Cash band lost their bass player. They pulled in my friend Matt as an upright bass player, so we added an upright. Awesome. So I credit that band. It ended in a train wreck, but
Getting you back into it?
But that band got me back into playing and also pulled my friend Matt back into playing. And then Matt and I ended up playing in a bunch of other bands after that. But if Matt's listening, I don't know if you'll remember that. But that band actually probably got me going again. I don't know what I'd be doing if that band.
What's the name of that band?
And it was a perfect band to get you back into playing because it was just that. But just kick snare. I could have got away with kick snare hi-hat.
Yeah.
And just work the crap out of those beats, and very
What was the name of
subtle
that
playing.
band?
That was Big River Depot, and they're still playing. They're still playing around now.
Oh, no
Actually,
kidding.
they played at Snyder Fest. I got up and jammed with them.
Oh, those guys.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that was actually good.
What's Snyder Fest?
This
That guy Carl Schneider that he mentioned.
that guy Carl that owns the recording studio in Norton.
Very good recording studio, which is not called Remain 3 anymore, apparently.
Oh no, what's it? What's it called?
I asked him when I was there recording
oh,
a year. I say, hey, what's this place called now? Is it called Remain 3 still? He goes, Remain 3? Oh my God, that was like years ago. So I don't know what it's called.
Oh, so you don't know what it's called. No. Can I read through you?
I have no idea. But anyway, sorry.
Anyway, so Carl has this party in October. It's Oktoberfest, Schneider Fest.
Yeah.
And basically he invites a bunch of bands that he's recorded or has some affiliation with the studio. So he gets a bunch of bands, they play all day long. And
I want to go. Different musicians show up and they play
a
together.
bunch of musicians play, and it's just a free-for-all.
They bring their kids, they got bounce houses, all sorts of shit.
And it's kid friendly. It's kid friendly
Yeah.
and stuff, and it's just a
I
good
need to
time.
record there then, I guess.
Dude, yeah, he's got a really cool studio.
Speaking of influential drummers, I'm finding now as I get older, the most influential drummers, or I say the drummers I most appreciate, are the ones that I'm trying to learn a song by. And it's maybe a song I've heard a gazillion times, and I just said, this shouldn't be hard. And then I start trying to learn it, and I go, oh my God, this is way more. Either in the case of like someone like Bonham, you can play all the same notes that he's playing, but it doesn't sound like him.
Right.
He's got whatever,
Right.
He's behind the beat or on top of the beat or whatever he's doing, or he's got a ton of ghost notes with the
oh my
left
God,
hand,
yeah.
and awesome ghost notes, and
Yeah.
hi-hat switches in
Sure.
places,
Yeah.
and they go, whoa, this is way more involved. So someone like him one, I would say he's one of the toughest to emulate, and if you go see a cover band do Zeppelin songs, typically the drummer just can't. It doesn't.
The
sound
best
sick.
drummer I've ever seen try to replicate Bonham, it came damn near close, was what's his name? Rich Gorman, the drummer from the Black Crows.
Oh yeah, Steve.
Steve Gorman.
Yeah.
When he
That
Jimmy
album's
Page
great.
went out on the road with the
live
Black
album?
Crows, he does it.
Yeah. He's
I
got a
mean,
great
he
feel
was
for it.
just
Yeah.
like. I mean, it was like he had inhaled
and
John
there's a
Bonham's
handful of drummers,
ashes
and
then had the power.
Mitch Mitchell from Jimi Hendrix. Tough to emulate. Tough
I watched
to
so many guys online. You know, he had those certain licks, but his going back to rudiments, double stroke rolls.
Yeah,
but not like not
he's
relying
a jazz
on the
drummer.
right.
He's a jazz drummer morphed into a rock drummer. So a lot of his chops and a lot of his fills.
Tons of double stroke rolls.
Double stroke rolls.
And
awesome.
But not like like a closed double stroke roll. Just like you again, try moving double strokes around the drum set. It's not that easy because your second hit just dies.
Yeah.
You know, you hit you come down hard on the downbeat.
Yeah.
Then the upbeat is like right.
Yeah.
And now if you're trying to move around the kit, well, you know, you've lost it.
Bonham, Mitch Mitchell, and Ian Pace from Deep Purple.
Oh yeah.
Blazing.
There was just a big write-up about him the other day.
Blazing. Talk about double strokes, single strokes and double strokes. Blazing stuff he played with single bass drum. There's a story. Well, maybe I should wait till Pete gets back. But there's a story. I'm not going to remember the song. I should remember it. He was a single bass player.
Who, Ian?
Ian Pace, and they were in the studio, and they were doing. We're talking about Ian Pace, another guy that's hard to emulate,
Annoyingly good.
Annoyingly good. Awesome hands, but there's awesome taste and feel and everything. And I think it's the album Fireball. It might be the song Fireball, but he's not a double bass player. He's never a double bass player. Well, I guess the band wanted double bass on this one track. So they were in the same recording studio that the Who was recording down the hall at the same time in another room. So the Who wasn't there that day. So they wanted double bass in this track. So they went down the hall and dragged one of Keith Moon's bass drums from his kit and put it on Ian Pace's kit. So he did the track, he did the song with double bass, and it's just phenomenal. He played a little bit, but never with Deep Purple. But he mucked around with double, and he does the song. It's like through the whole
like
song.
Those like triplets, kind of
like Hot for Teacher.
Kind of like a Hot for Teacher, kind of crazy drum beat through the whole song. And then when they got done with the track, he put the bass drum back in there. So it's Keith Moon. So he goes, when you listen to that track, the left bass drum, I think, is Keith Moon.
Sounds oddly familiar.
And Keith Moon's another guy that's tough to emulate. Very bombastic playing.
Animal.
Yeah.
Animal.
You know, I had a student that wanted to learn, this years ago now, but he wanted to learn Keith Moon and parts here and there. But I was like, honestly, man, he's really all over the place. And I'll teach you these parts, but
very bombastic.
It's just
player. So I find that those guys, like, I love those type of players because they're all over the map. They're very tough to
you can't really emulate them.
And Bonham's just hard. You could spend. There are people that have studied him.
Were you a Keith Moon fan?
Not really.
I wasn't either, really. What about you, Drum? Are you a Keith Moon fan?
So, it's funny you mentioned that. One of the bands I'm playing with, we're doing Bubba O'Reilly, and I'm definitely not playing it the way Keith did. I'm just feeling it out because I am a fan, but I'm one of those fans, like, I'll listen to them. I don't really like to play their tunes because I know that
you can't do it justice.
I can't do it justice, but not only that, like, I then went back and like tried to listen to a bunch of live stuff. He's that type of drummer that he's never going to play the same way twice.
Right. Yeah, same thing.
Would you call him a sloppy drummer?
So I've had conversations with other drummers about this. I wouldn't say he's a sloppy drummer. I'd say he's more of an avant-garde drummer, meaning he plays what he feels in the moment.
Right, sure.
The 80 of what needs to be there will be there.
Right.
But the other 20 is never going to be the same.
Very.
Every time.
I want to say maybe a melodic drummer. Very melodic. Very tasteful in that way. Where he's very melodic.
Well, the 20 probably came from the fact that he was a raging alcoholic.
Right.
Yeah, which is okay, if you're a drummer.
Hey, we're doing.
If I could be a raging alcoholic and be that good, goddamn.
We're doing drums and beer night on Thursdays. What do you know?
So I was with him and Neil Peart.
Yes, Neil Peart.
But over the years,
all my friends were.
We should get him on this podcast.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll do it too.
And
Neil, if you're listening, We want you.
Yeah.
So, well, maybe not after he hears this. My wife.
Butchie doesn't speak for the whole group in case he's about to say something negative. Me and Pete still want you, Neil.
No, this is a very fair podcast. We can debate back and forth, negative and positive.
So it wasn't until years later when you realize I only was listening to rock, so I never listened to any other stuff. And then I watched the Burning for Buddy DVD.
Oh yeah, jeez, yeah.
I know
And
you're
you
gonna
watched-
say, because
you
I
watched-
agree with you. I know you're
And
gonna
you
say.
watched all these drummers playing with Buddy Rich's big band, and you saw, name all the drummers that were the Steve Ferroni and
Arnoff came in. Matt Sorum came in.
Matt Sorum was
Matt
on
Sorum
the
actually
show.
did a great
He
job.
did.
Yeah.
But he was actually.
He's a heavy drummer though.
Yeah.
He's the
But
metal guy.
he actually even said before he joined Guns N' Roses
Yeah.
and the Cult, like he said what he really enjoyed was prog rock drumming.
yeah.
But anyways,
and,
go ahead.
Omar Hakim
Omar
and,
Hakim,
and
Simon Phillips,
Simon
Rod
Phillips,
Morgenstein.
and Rod Morgenstein. So you had all these drummers,
Yeah.
and then they showed the clip of Neil Peart playing
Peart
with
playing,
Buddy
yeah.
Rich's band, and it sounds like he's got. He just is
like
not
3 left feet.
It sounds like he had 3 left
know what
feet
the hell is going
and no thumbs, and he just.
Just sounded very generic. It wasn't-
No, he sounded real tight. He sounded
Tight.
like what I was talking about.
Maybe he
playing
wasn't breathing.
tight. So,
Maybe.
so what I'm saying, he's way out of his element. There.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
out of his comfort zone.
Yeah.
So everything was real tight. And when you compare like his playing to like, there was a Steve Gadd one, and Steve Gadd looks like he's like half asleep when he's doing his track. And he's reading the
Oh,
chart.
and who came in and
he's
just-
reading the chart, and he's like flipping the pages
Yeah,
of the chart,
yeah, yeah.
while he's playing with a stick. He's flipping the page. He's flipping the page of the chart while he's
Billy Cobham.
Billy
He
Cobham.
came in
Yeah.
cold.
Yeah.
Like he didn't get the charts ahead of time. Everybody else got the shit ahead of time.
Right, yeah, it was
And
Billy
Billy
Cobham.
Cobham came in and put the chart up and just fucking went through it.
Yeah, they said everyone else got to pick their songs. And Billy
Yeah.
Cobham.
Just give me whatever when I get there.
What are those?
Russian roulette.
What's
Yeah.
one of the songs that they didn't want to do?
Yeah.
Well, nobody wants to play this one. This one. He goes, whatever
All right,
one.
cool.
I'll do any
Yeah,
one of those.
all right.
They gave him the chart. He put it up on the stand. He looked over real quick. He says, yeah,
Yeah, I got it,
I'm
man.
ready
I got
to
it.
go."
It's cool. It's
Left
cool.
hand lead, left hand
It's
ride.
great to see on video.
Left-
Wait,
That's
the
great
left hand on the downbeat?
No,
Yeah, right.
no, left hand hi hat.
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
yeah. No, I'm just saying,
Ride.
left-
He plays
yeah.
ride and hi hat.
But that means his left hand was
Yeah.
on the downbeat. Yeah.
So he's doing. He does all the charts. He's got it all written out, and he plays the whole song, and he goes, "Oh, thank you very much, everybody." I'm like, "Oh my
Yeah.
word!"
I'm
but
never picking up a
you
pair of
know,
drumsticks
but
ever
like
again.
But like you said, Peart was out of his element, even though he produced that whole thing.
I own that on a thing for all you new people
Oh.
out there, on a thing called a CD.
CD.
Oh no, I have.
Compact disc.
We
I
do
have
too.
mine on a VHS.
VHS.
No, I had the audio.
The audio version.
Oh,
yes.
the audio version.
But
Oh.
I too have this
Yes.
thing called VHS.
Yeah.
For all you people out there that are younger,
What's
those
that
those things
stand for?
those things go into a VCR.
What does VHS stand for? Video.
Really? Why are you trying to make us look like a bunch
I-
of jerks
I
on
don't
this
know.
podcast? We were just trying to make fun of the younger
I
generation.
can cut that.
You don't even know what it
I
means.
can cut this out.
No, you gotta leave it in. You gotta leave it in.
We'll have to Google that later.
Yeah.
That's for you.
We'll have to
folks.
Google it with our new technology
Yes,
phones.
please leave in the comments down below
So-
what VHS stands for,
No,
please.
no.
Teach us something.
To bring Neil Peart back up for
Peart?
one of my lessons,
Peart.
I had to
Neil
bring
Peart.
him back
Peart.
up, and for one of my lessons, I had to learn Limelight.
Oh my
One of
God.
my favorite Rush songs. I've heard that a gazillion times.
Oh,
Never,
I want to mention something too. After.
I've
Okay.
never-
never realized there's it's either 3 or 4 different time signatures in that one song. Never realized it.
Sure.
Working on the song, and I go, really? This is it's in 7/8 and then 6.
Don't get it wrong. You're on the air.
7.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it is. That's why
I don't remember what it is.
I don't want to say it. I probably have it in my notes. That's why he's the professor, because he can make that.
Professor,
you would never
yeah.
know.
Yeah,
You
professor.
never know. You would know.
Yeah.
He makes the transition so smooth. The parts are so smooth, and they're specifically fit. Every single part of that song is like
Yeah.
to perfection. And I go, wow! I never realized. I never put that together.
John's been on a Rush kick the past couple of years.
Yes.
Yeah, John from Boulder.
So,
So,
I want to say to you is you're making me remember something.
Yeah.
I'm learning. And one of the bands I'm playing in, we're doing "Don't Stop Believe It."
Yep.
Don't Stop Believing.
Yep. Yeah, you
And
did mention that. Yep.
I might have mentioned this last week.
Acoustically.
Yeah, but now we're thinking about bringing it into electric set.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, again, one of those songs I've heard a million times. I'm like, oh yeah, it sounds like he's just hitting the bell of the ride here and there. Make sure you get some tom action in there.
Yep.
And I went to go play it,
Yep.
and I was playing it cross,
Yeah.
and it was just coming out all fucked up. I'm like, this sounds horrible. And they're like, hey, I think we're going to do it the next gig. I'm like, no, we're not.
No, we're not.
So then I was not at work looking up drum charts, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
It was during my lunch break. It was fine. And then I watched a YouTube video, and everyone's like, oh, yeah, typical, open sticking. I'm like, oh, yeah, typical open sticking. I downloaded that drum chart.
That's what it was.
And so now I'm trying to practice, like, the open sticking.
Right.
Because it's challenging. It sounds
of course.
simple.
Left-hand lead.
But it's actually really, left-hand lead.
Yeah.
And then, like, again, it's kind of like going back to like what Stuart Copeland does when he hits those toms. He puts in like these spatially like cool tom hits, and that's kind of like what's going on in that song.
Sure.
So I'm looking forward.
7/8,
Oh, you got the chart?
4/4.
Is this John's
7/8.
chart?
No, this is the one I just plucked off. And then 3/4.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yep.
Then
Yeah,
back
sure,
to 7/8, the 4/4, 7/8, 4/4, 3/4. Weirdest thing, but everything just flows so nice, and
Yeah, you
his
don't even
fills
notice.
set up everything perfect.
Yeah.
Then I go, my drum teacher go, how does that? How can he go from the? Because that's why he's a professor. That's why he's.
Yeah.
That's why he. That's his magic. That's what makes it. He goes, you would never know. That song flows beautifully. I go, I never paid attention to that. He goes, you're trying to count it. It's all messed up. So.
That's how I feel every time I listen to Frank Zappa, which
Oh
is one
my
of my
God.
favorites of all time. And by the way, his hologram tour is coming to Boston in April.
that. Yeah, I heard
I really want to go. Do you guys know who the players are for that? Because I read it a while back, but I just forget.
It's got to be some phenomenal players.
Google it.
I would.
Sure it is,
Yeah, I wonder how Zappa would feel about that nowadays. Like, if he would be
Being
like,
a hologram?
yeah, being a hologram tour. Like, I mean, his son Dweezil. Every time I've seen him, and I've actually got to meet his band one time.
Dweezil does Zappa.
Oh, man.
Zappa does Zappa.
It's just mind blowing. Like they did Black Page one night, and I was just like talking to the drummer after. And
That was never a big influence of mine either. Like I never got it. I
Much later in life for
appreciate
me.
what he did, but yeah, I never.
I never got in there.
You know what I like about him is, I mean, you're talking about some very intense music. Again, you just mentioned Neil Peart, and you talk about Rush, time signature changes all over the place.
Yeah.
Zappo did that too. But what I really love about him is all his lyrics, all his songs are like these zany, like whimsical lyrics that make complicated music like almost kind of like kid friendly in a way. You know, he's just like, don't take it seriously. Like, look, you know, talking about all this whimsical shit.
Mark Daly's really into Zappa.
Huh?
The engineer I work with at E. Dagner in Avon.
Yeah.
He's a big Zappa fan. He was always into Zappa. Even the stuff he writes in his band is kind of Zappa-ish. I've had to play on a few tracks that are kind of zany.
I always think Les Claypool kind of channels his energy a little bit too.
Sure, yeah, sure.
So he's another one of my faves. Obviously, I mean, he's played with some amazing drummers over the years too.
So I find a lot of the bands and drummers I don't appreciate until you have to go learn this stuff. I recently never was into a lot of their stuff. I played some of it and never played it right. I learned the hard way, but I started listening to some James Brown stuff with Clyde Stubblefield and was it Jomo Starks?
Oh, Jabo Starks.
Jabo Starks.
Yeah.
Some of that drumming, even charted out. I'm looking at. It looks like someone just threw up a bunch of notes on how the hell. So then, the most humbling thing, I would work for 2 nights, and I'd get the beat down. I'd finally get the beat down. I'm playing all the notes. I go, oh, well, it's not that bad once you get down. And then I go back and I listen to the song, and I'm playing it like 1/3 the tempo. that it's
Right.
I go, oh, that ain't that bad. I got to get this hi-hat
right.
swish here, then he comes
Yeah.
back with this, and then I got to go this cross stick thing here, then back here, and I got to drop this bass note in here by itself with nothing else, and then I'm going through the whole thing, and I go, oh, that ain't that bad. That feels pretty good. And I go listen to the song, and I go, oh my God. I got to ramp this up. I can't. I could not get it up to speed. I just could not. I couldn't. I go. How is he possibly? How's he possibly playing that at that tempo?
When you guys
So-
learn this stuff,
Cocaine.
do you slow this stuff down to learn it? Or do you
So
not?
huge. So,
Have to.
yeah. So now
You do?
I do. I
Yeah.
have to,
Yeah.
but then sometimes.
But do you use technology to slow the music down to
Well,
learn
No,
it?
no, no.
No?
I just
Oh.
take the headphones off. I'm like, okay, here's the beat. I had to
You
practice.
break it down for yourself.
But intuitively, it's tough to actually. It's harder to slow it down sometimes, right? Don't you find as
so now
drummers?
YouTube, you can
You
slow
can slow
stuff
it
down on
down, yeah.
YouTube.
Sure.
So
Isn't it very hard to play slow?
oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, super
Yeah.
hard, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
And steady,
fortunately
yeah.
with YouTube, this is a real cool.
Because of the
This
space.
never used to be. I used to have. There's an app you can download called the Amazing Slowdowner.
Yeah.
So you can play.
Never even heard of this.
you
Thanks
up-
for sharing.
you
how,
go.
long have we been meeting on Thursday nights? Thanks, bud.
So
The amazing slowdowner.
so you can play the song and it doesn't change the pitch. So you can figure out toms will sound like toms, snare and bass drums sound like everything. That's the problem when normally when you slow stuff down,
Changes the pitch.
it changes the pitch and you can't tell what the hell drum is
Right.
in. So this doesn't change the pitch. And then there's different grades of the Amazing Slowdowner. So I think the free one, I don't know if you can do, if you're limited to how many songs or how long. So you only have it for like 3 minutes.
I had
Sorry.
an
A
old.
lot of recording programs do that now, too, though.
So it's only limited to.
That tech-
No, they do.
Oh,
They do
no.
it. You can
So then I
slow
could-
it down, preserve the
Technology's
pitch.
been around for a while. I remember when I was a young kid having this analog device that I could loop
Yeah.
a 20-second
20
clip
seconds,
in.
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
It never worked that great.
No, but for the technology
the
that
technology
was available
was-
then.
What's
Yeah.
the free software you could download? The
Oh, Audacity.
Audacity. You
Yeah.
can do it with you dump the
Yeah.
file in Audacity,
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
slow it down.
Really?
But
It's
you
all
had to
stuff
go
I
in-
don't ever do. I just try to grab the drum charts and then go for it.
No, so if you go to YouTube, you can slow it down. You can do like 3/4 speed, half speed, quarter speed. So you don't have to bring it way down.
Right.
So and that comes in super handy because you can just quickly go in there and do it.
Let me
So
ask
I
you,
use
Butch, how many nights a week do you practice?
Lately, hardly at all.
I'm in that boat. I've been doing work on my house. I haven't had a drum set up in my house in almost 5 or 6
I'm
weeks.
guilty, and if,
Since you
if my
started in the
drum
basement.
teacher's listening, he's gonna have a. Yeah, I listen to a lot of stuff, and I go
The drum
over a lot of
teacher's
stuff.
listening.
I go over a lot of stuff, and I'm like involved, but not behind the kick.
Yeah.
Usually a lot. So
I would say in the last
Yeah.
2 weeks,
yeah,
the 25 minutes at work.
yeah.
You listen a lot, though, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm
And
always.
you listen a lot
Yeah, I listen a lot, but I'm
to your
not
stuff. That's
playing.
that's part of it, though.
Yeah,
That's
but
definitely
I
part
mean,
of it.
I really gotta.
Not taken away from actually sitting down and hacking away at it.
One
but-
thing I have a list that I have going that I keep, but one thing about playing any instrument, especially drums, but any instrument at all, there's endless stuff to learn.
Yeah, there is.
So
Yeah,
this,
that's insane.
I got a list of stuff that I want to touch on, and even if I'm not an expert at it, just to know how to play something. So even some jazz chops and some reggae chops and how to work some brushes.
Yeah.
And Mike Levesque's really good at. I'll say something about working with some brushes, and he goes, "I'm not a brush expert. What you really," and he gives me a bunch of names to go check out and some videos to check out. But he goes, "If you can learn these 3 things, you can get through
Get through
a
a
gig.
brush
These
thing, yeah.
these
You
are
can
my
get through 80% of the gigs of your
80%
life.
of the gigs with these 3 tricks, and the same thing with the shuffles. You learn these 2 shuffles, you go out, and if you can expand these to 6 shuffles, you're covered. You got everything
Right.
covered. We did a whole lesson on train beats. If you can learn these 4 train beats, you can get through anything. You can do your country stuff, your country, your rockabilly. You can get through all these. And the reggae's, the same thing. You 1 drop, and you can do 3 or 4 of these beats. So you don't have to be an expert in any of these, but if you can learn just a handful to get you through.
See,
And-
it's
and-
interesting because I
Cover the
remember
whole gamut, yeah.
when I was younger,
Like I'm always thinking you got to learn like everything about everything, and it's really not.
I used to just try to focus. Like if I was playing when I was younger, playing in like a hardcore band, I just focused on playing hardcore style drumming, and that was it. Because I always tried to, like what's that expression? Master of nothing. Help us out here.
Jack of all trades.
Yeah. Someone call
Master
into
of
the
none.
podcast.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
So I'd always just try to focus, but now as I get older and playing in cover bands, you're trying to do all this different stuff, or minus learning everything playing in the bands you're playing in, we also have, like Butchie was saying, a list of stuff that you just want to learn for your own self-satisfaction.
Right.
It's very tough to, A, find the time, but B, try to, if you're not playing 8 hours a day, and if you only get a few hours during the week,
So
like where do you focus that time?
So that's
right?
what I have trouble with. I don't know like what to focus on. So
I
have
think
a
that
list
should always
of-
be on your mood. If you're like come home and you're like, man, I was listening to this all day and I feel groovy.
yeah.
All right, let's try
Play
some
that.
reggae stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's never enough stuff that you can never run out of stuff to learn.
There's always built-in stuff though too. I mean, you all know certain rudiments, like how to play certain rudiments that you don't even have to think about. And if you're sitting around doing nothing, even if you don't have sticks, you can go through different rudiments just to keep your chops up. Whether it's paradiddles or whatever it is, any stickings. I mean, by now you might as well, but by now I've memorized the first 13 how to stick control. It's memorized. It's built in.
Yeah.
So if I sit here and I play them all, and switch, and then play doubles, and then play opposite doubles, and then play paradiddles, right? It's built in like that. So do that every day when you're just sitting around.
Yeah.
Maybe we should maybe we should see if we can get Mike Levesque to want to do an
I
interview.
mentioned it to him.
And
I mentioned it to him, and he said he wanted to hear a few of our podcasts.
Of course he does.
Before he committed.
I don't blame him. I
Mike.
don't blame him.
never met, but you're always welcome.
Great player.
Maybe you don't send him the first 3.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't.
Maybe we should wait till we got 10 under our belt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, and more than four listeners.
well,
Yeah, right? Yeah, exactly.
well, we do
and
know
two,
though.
two, that's me.
No, we. Well, I think people should look forward in the weeks to come. We'll be bringing some other drummers on here from the local scene to
Yep.
interview them.
Yep.
So you don't just hear our perspective on everything. We'd love to.
Although we kind of know everything, so.
And then in April, when I hit the road,
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll
I'll chime in from the road.
we'll call you. Yeah, we'll do.
Yeah.
And
see where I'm at in the country. I might be if I'm 3 hours earlier. I'll have to time it right so I know you guys are together, and we'll figure it out.
I think
Well-
this was a pretty good one.
It was pretty good. Thanks, everybody.
SnareBurger podcast.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. All you 4 listeners. Maybe 5 now, after today.
My mom's listening.
Oh, see, there you go. There's 5 right there.
Yeah. And there wasn't a lot of swearing tonight, for the most
No,
part.
I dropped a few F-bombs. but,
That's all good.
You know,
Not good.
I can edit those out.
All right.
Well, maybe not.
You could just instead when you're about to swear, have it be Butchie's voice going SnareBurger.
Yeah, that'll be the bleep. That'll be the bleeper.
That's a good
You
idea.
mother
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
SnareBurger.
You
Yeah.
piece of SnareBurger.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. I'm going to do that for the next podcast.
All right, peace out,
good?
people.
Are we good?
Thank you, everybody.
Right.
Last call, SnareBurgers.
No, you gotta do it.
That's good.
That's
good.
Last call, SnareBurgers! Yeah, that's what we need right there. That's it, last call, SnareBurgers! Get out of here! You can keep on drinking, but you can't stay here!